I am neurodiverse. That means I'm autistic, albeit very mildly. I'm on the mild end of what they call the autistic spectrum. My story tonight is how that condition has affected me. The first time I introduced myself as such was right here in the living room a few months ago. For years, I didn't even know it, and then I was reluctant to admit it. I thought there was something wrong with me. My sister, who had worked with special needs kids, knocked it off. She told me I had Asperger's syndrome. I was surprised, but now it makes sense. I hesitate to use the term symptom because it indicates some kind of illness, but there are problematic features of this mode of being in the world. I get extremely uncomfortable in unstructured situations with other people. I don't quite get other people. I don't intuitively understand how people work and how they interact. Like most primates, I want to be part of the tribe, but I rarely fit in comfortably. Over and over, I get rejected because I've broken some social rule that I didn't even know existed, desperately wanting to be included. I end up being left out, feeling shocked, angry, resentful, baffled, and frankly terrified. It's not fun. It makes a person want to just end it all. Fortunately, I have 5 planets in Leo, so I don't give up easily. Many years ago, long before I had a label for myself, I realized I was in despair. My life wasn't working, and I didn't know what to do. A friend had gone to India, found a guru, and come back changed. She wasn't smoking dope, she wasn't drinking, she wasn't eating meat, she wasn't having sex, she wasn't angrily denouncing U.S. imperialism, and she seemed a lot more peaceful and happy. I wanted some of that. Her guru taught that before getting initiated, you had to be on the lifestyle for 2 months, and you had to investigate all your alternatives. So I went cold turkey. I smoked the last joint, drank the last beer, ate the last steak, and moved out to a different house. Apparently, I became quite obnoxious. I went around telling everybody, man, you ought to quit smoking dope. You have so much more energy. It's amazing. You ought to quit smoking dope. It's fantastic. They responded, hey, Meacham, just cool it, would you? After a while, I guess I calmed down. While waiting to get initiated by that guru, I looked around for alternatives. In Austin at that time, as now, there was no shortage of yoga classes, meditation classes, Aquarian practitioners of light, New Age psychotherapies, and the like. I found a beginning meditation class. Went there, and the teacher gave me a mantra. Cool. I sat down and meditated every day. I never made it to my friend's guru. I took initiation in Ananda Marga instead, a meditation group with its own guru. It was ideal for me. Here was a practice that stilled my mind, a community of like-minded people, and a whole lifestyle of yoga, meditation, special diet, periodic fasting, morals, attitudes to cultivate, behaviors to abstain from, and weekly meetings where we chanted, meditated, and shared meals together. A fellow Margi later told me that Ananda Marga was an excellent spiritual boot camp. It was all quite structured. The rules were clear, and I could fit in. I worked for off-campus co-op housing while living alone in a garage apartment, a monk-like ascetic existence where I could meditate without disturbance. I did other things as well, particularly reevaluation counseling. That helped immensely, but it was the spiritual community that contained and gave form to everything I did. My life was way better. I was dedicated and enthusiastic. Our guru told us, the one who performs sadhana means effort, spiritual practice, in other words, meditation. The one who performs sadhana twice a day regularly, that person's liberation is a sure guarantee. I still meditate daily, although only once a day and not as long. Perhaps I have a 50-50 chance of liberation. Then our guru came to the West. He wasn't allowed into the States because he was a political rabble-rouser in India, an identity that quite appealed to me, actually. So he came to Jamaica. I traveled there to be with him in the company of hundreds of other Margis. That was the beginning of disillusionment. The chaos, the place was chaotic. The acharyas, the monks who taught meditation and ran the organization, would say, "Hurry, hurry, Baba wants us over here." So we would all rush over there in a big jumble. Then they would say, "No, no, no, Baba wants us all over there." So they would all herd ourselves back over there. When we finally got to the hall where Baba was speaking, I was way in the back, couldn't see or hear very well. I was confused and uninspired. Back home, it was even worse. I couldn't meditate. I mean, I sat and did my mantra, but the experience was dry and sterile. I got headaches trying to focus on my third eye. Ananda Marga means path of bliss, but I was not feeling the bliss. So I turned to the Sufis. I don't mean to disparage Ananda Marga. It was just what I needed for that period in my life. And as I said, it was a great spiritual boot camp in which I learned concentration and perseverance and discipline. But the Sufis were a whole nother dimension. A Margi had come to UT from California for graduate school, and he brought with him Sufi dancing. How many of you all have done Sufi dancing? Raise your hands. Okay. Oh, good. Okay. Dances of Universal Peace. Cool. You know what I'm talking about. Sufi dances, or dances of universal peace, are simple circle dances like folk dances. They set sacred phrases from the world's religions and spiritual traditions to music. Singing and dancing the phrases really lift people up into a place of peace and joy. I was entranced, and in fact went on to lead the dances for many years. Unlike the Margis, who could have a somewhat serious and contained demeanor, the Sufis were joyous, flowing, exuberant, full of life. The Margis' colors were a stark orange and white. The Sufis wore a rainbow of colors. The Sufi motto is love, harmony, and beauty. And these folks embodied it. I had been attending both Sufi retreats and the Ananda Marga gatherings for quite a while before going to Jamaica. Now I gradually left the Margis behind and gravitated toward the Sufis. It was difficult to abandon my secure, known rituals, but many of my Margi friends had already moved on anyway. Eventually I took initiation into Sufism, and I cried when my teacher said, "Welcome home." Okay, at this point I'm going to fast forward over a story much too long for my time tonight. I got married, became a householder and father, worked in software and project management, studied macrobiotics, had huge relationship dramas, got divorced, got married again, and ended up happily settled down. A recent cognitive assessment told me that, sure enough, I'm on the spectrum, but I've learned to compensate pretty well. Through it all, I have continued my Sufi practices and hung out with fellow Murids who had and still have a fabulously loving and positive outlook on life. To give you a taste of where I'm at now, I want to tell you about one of my practices, picking up trash. I pick up trash when I take a hike through the park near my house. There's often plenty of it, especially in the parts of the park nearest the neighborhood, so the task keeps me busy. I forget how I got into this habit, probably because I was annoyed by the trash and remembered the story of a man on a long overseas airplane flight who was angry at the dirty bathroom. He sat and fumed, wished someone would do something about it, until he realized that most likely nobody would, but he could do it himself. So he did, and he enjoyed the clean bathroom for the rest of the flight. It's like that with me. Nobody else will clean up the trash, then I will. I get a sense of aesthetic pleasure looking at a spot of scenery that is free from human trash. And I like it when I come home back the next day and find it still clean. There are ancillary benefits as well. There's a sense of satisfaction at having accomplished a task. I get a sense of virtue of being a good citizen. The squatting and bending and reaching are good exercise for me, a person who often sits at a desk in front of a computer. At times there is a bit of a technical challenge. I see a bottle or a can that's been thrown back on the brush, hard to get to, and I figure out how I can carefully step and reach through the brambles to get it. It's not in the same league as rock climbing, but when I succeed, I have a happy sense of accomplishment. All these benefits are self-centered. It's about my getting to see beauty in my surroundings, my getting some exercise, my getting a sense of satisfaction from achieving a challenging task, but there's another dimension as well. I do it in order to reinforce and remind myself of my sense of connection with something greater than myself, with the unity of which each one of us is a part and an expression. I pick up trash so that the all will not have to see ugliness through my eyes. When I come back the next day or even a few days later and find the place still clean, I wonder if I've created an atmosphere, an aura of cleanliness that has influenced others to clean up after themselves. That's certainly possible if we're all connected by virtue of being expressions of one being. Often when I have a great pile of trash and it's getting too much to handle, I come upon a plastic bag to carry it in. It's as if the universe is helping me. Sometimes it feels like a duty, something imposed on me, which I resent, except I'm the one who imposed it. When I first come upon some trash, I dislike feeling that I have to stop and pick it up. I'd rather keep walking, keep feeling the pleasure of that movement, keep getting my aerobic exercise, and get to where I'm going to. I do it anyway, though. And once I start, I begin to feel a sense of lightness and contentment. Perhaps that's just idiosyncratic to me, a result of my personal history, as if I somehow expect parental approval for doing my chores. Or perhaps it's built into the human psyche through several 100,000 years of evolution. Because we are social animals and achieve reproductive success in a group setting, we have to be attuned to our tribe, the group that sustains us and to which we must contribute if we are to continue to be sustained. We do our duty to gain the approval of the group and to avoid its scorn. In the end, though, for me, cleaning the park is a spiritual practice. And you do your practice simply because they're there to be done. You hope for benefits, and certainly if there were none, you would not continue, but the presence or absence of any particular result at any particular time is not the point. The point in doing the practice is to become the kind of person to whom benefits generally accrue, the kind of person who experiences the grace, the sense of awe and wonder and gratitude that comes when you feel deeply your connection with the only being and allow yourself to be a conduit for the actions of that being. One of my teachers said, "The Sufi's choice is to raise her sails to catch the winds of the divine which forever blow." Picking up trash for me is a way of serving the divine, and in so doing, I am rewarded with beauty.